hear from someone who was flagged off by social media platforms for spreading fake news.
Why Rahul Gandhi seeking American, European intervention in saving India's democracy is something you think is correct? Because ordinarily, if there is a challenge to our democracy, it ought to be fought from within the country. You don't have Indian democratic leaders going abroad and saying, come and help us. This is almost like calling on a foreign country to do your job. You should be fighting for our democracy. If you think there's anything wrong with the way Prime Minister Modi and Amit Malwiya and the BJP are running this government, why are you asking for American and European help? Supriya,
it's quite ridiculous and actually very shameless and brazen for large sections of the BJP. And I'm saying large sections to turn into 2 rupee trolls, distort Mr. Gandhi's versions, speak blatant lies, and for some sections of the media to amplify it without even putting their minds and fact-checking it. And with your kind permission, I think let the man speak for himself. I will play a 35-second bite of Shri Rahul Gandhi and exactly what he has said. Before I go any further, Rahul, I had always thought that the BJP struggled with putting Hindi out because that's what they were doing. They were distorting the truth during the Bharat Jodo Yatra. It seems they struggle with translations in English as well. What else explains a perfectly banal statement made actually about putting Indian democracy, calling it a public good at the center, and the BJP making a hue and cry about it? And I hate to say this, some of the people who represent the BJP here or otherwise are actually acting like 2 rupee trolls. They have been called out time and again for spreading fake news, and they continue to do so because that is what their whole existence is all about. And I will seek your indulgence for 35 seconds as I play this bite, because this bite needs to go to the people and for the people to understand such blatant lies being peddled by fake news, fake news departments of the BJP and some sections of the media. Just seeking your indulgence, please, because this is important that people should know what exactly had he said.
No, it's our problem, right? It's an internal problem. It's an Indian problem, and the solution is going to come from inside. It's not going to come from outside.
And he goes on to say that 1.4 billion people inhabit the Indian democratic system, and the fate of our democracy is going to determine the fate of democracies on the planet. He's putting India right at the center of democratic values, and people have an issue with it. I really want to understand. Do they not understand English? Are they failing to translate into Hindi? What's really happening here?
You've set the context for this debate, and you've also done what you're accusing the BJP of doing, which is playing one part of the comment, because he does go on to say that Europe and the United States aren't doing enough when Indian democracy in danger.
Chal jhoota.
But let's get Amit Malwiya to respond. The Congress's charge is that you've used one part of the statement where he says Europe and the US are not doing enough for Indian democracy, and you aren't showing the initial part where he says the work has to happen within our country as well. So it's not as if he's only calling for their help. He's trying to draw the world's attention to what he thinks are failing institutional standards in our country. It's something that, as somebody in the opposition, he has a right to be concerned about, and you're only quoting him in part. Mr. Malwiya, let's start from there.
Let me counter a clip by another clip, and this clip is of Rahul Gandhi.
So the surprising thing is that the so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious that a huge chunk of the democratic model has come undone, right? Which is a real problem.
So here is Rahul Gandhi making that plea once when he was interacting with a group of journalists, and then on another occasion when he was addressing some members of the British Parliament. To a bunch of parliamentarians, you are by extension appealing to the government of Britain to interfere in the internal matters of India. Now, as far as democracy in India is concerned, clearly there's nothing wrong with it. We have a functioning democracy. We have electoral process, we have the judiciary, we have the executive that is doing its job, and the Congress is still relevant in a few states. But for Rahul Gandhi to step out of the country and seek intervention of foreign powers in India's internal matters and to seek restoration of democracy is a serious problem. Now, this is probably for the first time, Rahul, that somebody from the Congress party has been so brazen and has walked down this path and sought for an intervention. to make these assertions, to undermine India's institution, undermine India's parliament, which incidentally he does not attend too often, and then to make statements that opposition voices being stifled and that people are not able to speak, and there is a perception of minorities being under threat on the day the BJP wins in states like Nagaland and Meghalaya, which is almost 85-90% minority dominated and a huge tribal population. So there is something very problematic about Rahul Gandhi's understanding of
Amit Malwiya's counter is
articulation,
Rahul
and it raises several questions.
Rahul Gandhi's track record as a parliament, that's abysmal. The Congress's record in the recent northeastern states was abysmal. Yes, there is an existential threat to the Congress, but let's not equate that with challenges before India's democracy. There are always challenges before any democratic system. That is inherent to the nature of any democracy. But Rahul, going abroad, asking for, he's basically saying India is becoming non-democratic, democracy has been undone, he's feeling shocked at the lack of reaction in Europe and the United States, seeking international intervention in India's internal matters. When you were in government and somebody else did this, you'd be aghast with what the opposition has done. Why is Rahul Gandhi doing this?
No, so before I answer your question, I first want to put on record how weird it is for me to hear from someone who was flagged off by social media platforms for spreading fake news.
For the first time, Twitter has flagged a tweet by BJP IT cell chief Amit Malwiya on farmers' protests as manipulated media. On the 28th of November, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi took to Twitter to share an image showing security personnel purportedly about to hit a farmer with a baton at the Singh border amid the ongoing farmers' agitation. In response to the tweet, BJP IT cell head Amit Malwiya uploaded a propaganda versus reality video, claiming the police did not even touch the farmer. Malwiya tweeted, Rahul Gandhi must be the most discredited opposition leader in India, India has seen in a long time. However, days after his tweet, Twitter has flagged his social media post as manipulated media.
गजब बेइज्जती है.
You know, my counterpart in the BJP has had several flag-offs. बहुत बार इनको ट्विटर ने बोला ये मैनिपुलेटेड ट्वीट्स चलाते हैं, ये झूठ के सरगना है और मैं इनके मुंह पर बोल रही हूँ, ऐसा करना बंद कर दीजिए. आप भाजपा के ऑफिशियल हैं, ऐसा करके आप दिखाते हैं कि आप झुट्टों के सरदार हैं. और मैं हिंदी में इसलिए बोल रही हूँ क्योंकि उनको मेरा स्टेटमेंट एलिटिस्ट लगा था. मैंने तो हिंदी में भी बोला कि आप भारत जोड़ो यात्रा के हिंदी को भी
can I request both our guests not to get personal, please. Ma'am, we're debating ideas here. We're debating this demand
one
that...
second, I have an issue with that. One second, Rahul, one second. Don't lecture me. No, Rahul, one second.
I'm not lecturing you. I'm just saying, let's just focus on ideas. Let's focus on contesting views of whether international help is required or not. Let's stick to that. Yes.
Rahul, don't... No, you can't put words into my mouth. I'm here to speak a certain line that I will take. You can ask me to leave your channel, but I will say what I have come prepared to say and what I will say. And one of those things is that the person sitting here has been flagged off by social media platforms for spreading fake news. I want to actually play a counter clip. Forget about everything else. Let's play this counter clip so that people get to know who says what when they are on foreign soil. Because this is what the Prime Minister said about the country and our people when he was on foreign soil, and foreign soil no less than China. Please hear this.
कुछ होगा नहीं. अरे भगवान बचाए भाई. पता नहीं पिछले जन्म में क्या पाप किएगा हम हिंदुस्तान में पैदा हुए.
The Prime Minister of this country, elected by people of this country, representing 140 crore Indians, including you and I, goes to China and says that people used to curse their luck and their destiny because they were born in India. You think this is glorifying the country? And actually saying that America and China are pulling the world in two different directions, and Indian democracy is a public good, and we are what the world wants, espousing Mahatma and talking about the values of our constitution in foreign land, telling the British press, telling the British people. You think that's wrong? I am appalled. I am absolutely appalled by the level to which the BJP can stoop to demean Rahul Gandhi. But guess what? Every time you do that, I'm convinced about one thing. Rahul, 1 second. I'm absolutely convinced about one thing. The lower they stoop, the more Rahul Gandhi rattles the living daylight.
The essence.
अब बताइए मैं क्या करूंगा.
एक बहुत सिंपल सी टिप आपके साथ शेयर करती हूँ. अपने हाथ को इस तरीके से रखिए। इफ यू लुक एट दिस फ्रॉम योर साइड, आपका लेफ्ट हैंड आपको बी के जैसे दिखेगा और राइट हैंड आपको डी के जैसे दिखेगा। बी एंड डी। बी फॉर
थोड़ी मदद रखिए।
वे मैथों तेरा मन पर